22-year-old Lindsay Robinson for her share of a backpacking trip through Europe. Lindsay claims the trip was a gift.
Mr. Riskin, Miss Robinson used to be your girlfriend.
Correct.
And it is your claim that you took a backpacking trip to Europe.
Yes.
And you advanced some money for Miss Robinson, who was supposed to pay you back.
Correct.
Miss Robinson says the trip was a treat, your treat, and there was never any discussion about paying you back for the trip. And she is counterclaiming, she alleges you have some property of hers, a baby book, and she wants some punitive damages because she says you are stalking her. How long were you a couple?
For 7 months.
From when to when?
From mid-June, I believe it was, up until Valentine's Day.
And when was the trip?
We left on January 20th, returned February 19th.
So you were really a couple from June until January, because when I understand from reading your papers that when you took this trip, you each went your own way for a good part of the trip. You traveled independently. It wasn't a romantic getaway for the two of you, right?
Correct.
You didn't live together, did you?
We did.
You were living together?
Yes.
You had enough of each other from June to January. You wanted to be a little separated?
My intention of going to England and Scotland was to backpack, to go as many places as I could. Lindsay told me that she wanted to get a feel for life out there and stay in York for a week or two.
Wonderful. Terrific. How come you advanced the money?
Lindsay came up to me after the tickets were purchased, said that she had talked to some friends of her back home, and they told her that she needed roughly $1,000 per week, conversion rate being about 51 cents per pound. I'm sorry, $1 per 51 pence.
Oh, please, let's move on.
She did not have that money. I offered a loan.
I asked you what was said. Don't say I said to her, I will give you a loan. I want to hear what was said by her and what was said by you. Do you understand? And if it doesn't sound right, it's usually not true, Mr. Riskin. You get it?
I did.
Good.
So I went ahead and loaned her the $2,500.
Okay, Miss Robinson, since he can't get it together, I want you to tell me how it came about that you, A, took money from him for the tickets, and B, took money from him for spending. I think it was $2,500.
Yes.
Tell me how it came about.
He told me he was going. I told him I couldn't go with him. He asked me to go. I said
I want you to keep your voice up and speak slowly so that I can hear you.
Okay. He said he was going to Europe on a backpacking trip. I said, I can't go with you. I was going to use the month to move out anyway. He said, go with me, go with me.
You were going to use the what? I don't hear you. I want you to tell me how it came about that you took money from him for the tickets and took money from him for spending.
The month that he was going, I said I'm going to move out and see where it goes from there. So
look at me.
I told him to let me know when he bought the tickets and I would make a decision because he kept asking and asking. So when I called him, he said he bought 2 tickets. I'd said no, and he bought the ticket anyway. As far as money goes, I told him, well, I still don't have the money to go, and he offered to give me money for that too. We went to the bank together. He deposited it into my account.
What's wrong with you?
I listened to him, I guess.
No, you didn't listen to him, I guess. If you were not happy with him and if you were moving out, why did you take all that money from him?
Because...
Because why?
Because I thought he was doing a nice thing. He told me it was going to be a gift, and I believed him. And he told me he didn't want the money back.
That's not my question to you. I'm talking about being a moral person. Let's say I believe you, which I'm not sure I do. Let's say I believe you. Why would you, since you knew that he was anxious for you to go, since you knew that he was anxious for you, perhaps not to break up this relationship that you had had for 7 months, why would you, knowing what you knew, take money from him? Because as soon as you came back, you broke up, right? Right?
Before we got back, we broke up.
Well, before, but you already got yourself there on his ticket, and you already had $2,500 of his money.
Yeah.
Well, that's wrong.
I know. I know. I thought it was something that it wasn't, and I should have listened to my gut. I thought we had an understanding, and we didn't.
What kind of understanding?
We discussed it before, and we had the understanding that it wasn't going to be romantic, that we were both going to go our separate ways, and that it was a gift. Because I told him I couldn't go over and over, and he insisted that he wanted about it. He told my best friends about it. Knowing that we would break up, he told them that. And so I thought we had an understanding.
Yeah, I want to tell you something. If it doesn't...